Hello, welcome to Old Nerd Watches Westerns, episode 3. This time I watched Alvarez Kelly. Now, this is kind of the third in a series of Edward Dmytryk directed films I've done. The last one I did was Old Nerd Watches Noir. I believe that was episode 3 as well. That was Murder My Sweet, directed by um, Edward Dmytryk, same director as this movie. And the last episode of Old Nerd Watches Westerns was the Sean Connery starring Shalako, which came out 2 years after this, also directed by Edward Dmytryk. I have actually think I have at least two more Edward Dmytryk directed films in my DVD collection. I believe I have The Kane Mutiny, which is a classic war drama, World War II drama, and I believe I have Crossfire, which is his Edward Dmytryk's first Academy Award, 1947 film noir. So I'm gonna see if I have Crossfire. I'm pretty sure I have Kane Mutiny. I might try and watch them, and we'll look at those in the subsequent Old Nerd Watches videos. But this movie I just finished watching. This is really good. I just happened to find this. I'd done the last couple Old Nerd Watches noir and western films, and just kind of fell into this Edward Dmytryk directed rabbit hole. I was at the Goodwill for their 40% off sale recently, and this just happened to be there. And I looked at the back, and lo and behold, directed by Edward Dmytryk. And I was like, okay, this is too much of a coincidence to pass up. So I'm getting it, and I'm glad I did. This is really good. This is a Sony's Pictures DVD. It's part of their Most Wanted Western collection DVDs. Came out back in the day. I don't know if I have any more from this collection or not. There's a couple of trailers and the special features on this that are also part of this series of DVDs. Silverado, directed by Lawrence Kasdan, same directors who directed The Empire Strikes Back. Silverado, I remember watching that years ago and not being a big fan of it. I don't remember liking it that much. Although it's one of those westerns that's kind of like Young Guns or Tombstone. It's got all these big stars in it, so like how can you go wrong? I'll have to watch that one again and see what I thought. What else was there? I think Bridge Over the River Kwai is also one of the trailers on here, which that's a World War II movie, isn't it? It's not really a western. I don't know. Anyway, it's one of the trailers on here. Uh, for special features, it doesn't have much. It just has those two trailers plus a trailer for this movie, and talent profiles of like Edward Dmytryk and a couple of the stars: William Holden, uh, Richard Widmark, and Janice Rule, I think. Um, this movie is really good. Uh, if you're a fan of Lonesome Dove, which I know my good friend and channel subscriber and frequent commenter of my old nerd videos, Fat Monkey, is, I think he's going to like this. He's a big Lonesome Dove fan. I think that he would really enjoy this. Unfortunately, I don't think it's streaming for free anywhere. I see that you can get it on Amazon Prime, but you have to pay. Maybe it's on YouTube somewhere for free. I didn't look. But this is really cool. Edward Dmytryk must have been a really great director. He went from directing World War II propaganda films in Hollywood in the 30s to getting his break after being a film editor for years. He did the last Old Nerd Watches film noir episode. He did Murder My Sweet, classic of the film noir genre, and all the way through to these westerns and a whole bunch of other genres in between. But this movie I like better than Shalako. Shalako came out 2 years after this. Shalako is kind of like a modern western, though. That's what's really cool about Dmytryk as a director. Like, this is an old school, epic, cinemascope, really widescreen western, back old Hollywood, golden age of Hollywood type movie. Whereas Shalako, which he did 2 years later, is more of the modern, like almost borderline spaghetti western type, Clint Eastwood type movie, westerns that would happen in the later '60s. So he really did a good job going in 2 years, going from classic Hollywood to more modern. This movie's really good. It's about a Mexican cattle driver who's kind of a mercenary, but this happens during the Civil War. It's a North versus South kind of thing. So it's class. This movie is classified as a Western, but it's also kind of a war picture, mostly adventure altogether. But it's classified as a Western because there's cowboys and cattle driving and horses and whatnot. But basically, he needs to herd 2,500 cows from Mexico up north to the Union Army. He gets captured by the Confederate Army and forced to drive the cattle for them to feed their army. That's what this is all about: is getting cattle to the either Union or Confederate armies, so that the soldiers can eat. So they've got to drive 2,500 cattle, and this is just a really good movie. I was very surprised watching this how good this was. William Holden, of course, classic titan of Hollywood, best known maybe for the Sunset Boulevard back in the 40s, early 50s, I think, film noir, where he plays a writer. And Marlene Dietrich is the crazy old actress from the silent films. And oh man, that's such a good movie. What else is he really known for? Network in the 70s, where he plays an exec, I think, at a news agency. I forget. But yeah, William Holden, big name. And then there's Richard Widmark. I recognize him, and I recognize the sound of his voice when I hear him, but I don't really know him from anything. I know I've seen him in things. Vaguely recognize him. He's one of those people you've seen. What was he in? He was in Trial at Nuremberg, I think. What else? He was in a cop show in the early 70s that didn't last really long. Kind of famous, but not really. I can't really remember much about him. Also in the movie is, what's his name? Patrick O'Neill. He's somebody I've seen on TV a lot. He's a face that I recognize, but don't really know much about. I looked on IMDb. He's in a couple episodes of Columbo, which I believe that's how I recognize him most recently. My wife and I started watching old Columbo back earlier this year. I'm pretty sure I saw him in an episode or two of that. And Janice Rule, I think, is the actress. This actress here, she's pretty interesting. I don't really know much about her, but she's really good. She had a pretty long career in Hollywood as well. But again, I didn't really recognize her or anything that she'd done. But she's really good. This movie, like, kind of an epic. It takes place over a long period of time, and they had major stunts. They had a ton of cattle and horses, and there's a stampede scene at the end that goes on for 5 or 10 minutes, which is just incredible. I can't imagine directing that kind of a movie where there's a stampede, hundreds of cows, and running, and oh my gosh, it's really good. Highly recommend this. Alvarez Kelly, if you can find it. This is definitely gonna stay in my collection. Won't be getting rid of this one. Picture quality, even for the DVD, is really, really good. Looks very good. So keeping this one. If you know any details, trivia, or anything that I said that was wrong, please comment with it down below. I want to learn. Like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.